Endzone Online with Bobby Mills.
Hello everybody, this is Bobby Mills for theindependent.com with another version of Endzone Online. Josh Salmon behind the camera. Today we are in Hastings at Hastings High. We're going to talk to Charlie Shoemaker, the famous Cambridge 1,000-yard rusher, now head coach at Hastings High. You're 7-3 now. How about that?
Yeah.
Was that expected?
We had expected to be much improved from last year. That was, I think we were 2-7 last year. Had a lot of close games. We had a lot of returners. I think we were talking earlier. We lost really 2, maybe 3 guys that contributed senior-wise. We only had 6 seniors last year that played. Now we've got a group of about 18 seniors, and the sophomore group or the junior group's about 15 to 18. And all of them, sorry about that, all of them contribute for the most part. So, when you start getting your older kids, your seniors and your juniors in there that are playing most of the snaps, you can expect a good result, hopefully.
Sure. And did you have the same amount of kids out for football this fall that you did last year, or did you gain some new ones?
A few new ones, and what people don't understand about football is, numbers are important because there's so many positions to fill. It's not just your starters on defense and offense, but you've got all the special teams that give people a break, even the backup that gives a guy maybe 1 or 2 series a half, things like that. Those are so important. And I think early on, we didn't quite have the depth developed. We had a couple guys. Kellen Jones was one that was out. He had a knee injury in the spring. He didn't start playing until about Pius was the first game he played. So our line was a little bit, disheveled a little bit in the first part of the season. He's a real leader in there, a communicator. When he came back, that really started to gel that group, and we just started to see them kind of take off. And then Friday night, those guys were just unbelievable in the game.
I watched the film on that one, and it was like, oh my goodness, a 100, and it seemed like a 180-degree turnaround from that first game.
For sure.
Jiminy Christmas. So,
yeah.
Can you give us a short recap of the season and when you thought maybe things turned around?
Yeah. We opened with Gretna East. That was the first challenge. You really know nothing about them. They're a brand new school, so that was something that was a challenge. You knew they were going to have some athletes. In that area, they were going to have some athletes. We get to that game, we get suspended in the third quarter, have to come back on Saturday and make that up. Actually worked out great for us. Our kids came out really well on that Saturday. We had a quarter to play. It was just kind of strange. You would do the full warm-up, the whole prep, and then you play for about 20 minutes. So, but our kids did a really great job with that. We knew the first part of our schedule was going to be a little bit challenging, especially when we had, Kellen was out in the line. We were kind of trying to find some depth pieces in there. Then we go to York. They're a really good football team. They kind of gave it to us, but we had some opportunities in that game, and we didn't cash in on those. Early in the season, we were struggling in the red zone, struggling to get the ball in the end zone, things like that. Defense was playing solid most of the year. Really probably for us, the Northwest game, kind of midway, it was about game 5, I think, or 6. We lost 29-28, but we really played well. Things kind of started to come together. You just kind of saw things clicking a little bit. And then from that point on, we just continued to get better every week. So I think, that would probably be our turning point of the season, and the kids have just kind of ran with it.
Who are some of your key contributors?
Well, the list is long.
Yeah,
the list is long. Probably one of the best things that we did this year. Last year we had platooned at quarterback with Tucker and Chance.
Yeah.
And so, both of those guys, great team guys, just really good kids. And they were good with it last year, young. They were sophomores, so you knew there was going to be some mistakes. They each kind of brought something a little bit different. As we went through the summer, we talked with Chance and just said, hey, we're going to kind of do the same thing in the summer, but we want you to work at some receiver or tight end. Because all of a sudden, he kind of put on 30 pounds from last year, so he's weighing 210. And he was the perfect candidate for us to move to a tight end spot or something like that. He's a great blocker, good hands, smart, understands the game. And since we've done that, and the great part was, he was willing to do it and really kind of approached me about it more as we got into August.
Wow.
And he's just a natural there. And so with that, we've kind of got the best of both of them in the positions that they're at, and Tucker has really flourished and improved a ton from last year. That's kind of where it starts for us a little bit. Line-wise, we knew we had all those guys coming back, from last year. Every starter was back. We just needed a couple pieces. Some of our juniors this year, they stepped up. Xander Loughlin would be one. He's our center. He kind of filled into that spot. That was kind of the spot we needed. And so that really rounded out our line offensively. Receiver-wise, we kind of had all those guys coming back.
Okay.
Some new guys coming in that we thought would be able to contribute. Keith and Krings has been one that's had a sensational year. He's on track to break Carson's record for receptions in a season. I think he needs 6 or 7 or something like that. So, and typically he gets probably 9 or 10 a game, and he's been really solid for us. Landon Heinrichs has had just a great year for us on both sides of the ball at the receiver spot. Those guys have kind of traded off which game, the guy's been targeted the most or gotten the most catches, things like that. But on top of that, Tucker's been able to hit. I think we have 5 guys with 20 or more catches on the season, and so, and that's including our running backs. And so we're distributing the ball well, and that makes us tough to defend because we kind of hit from all different areas. And then our running back situation, Cooper and Naz, those guys have been just really solid. And our third stringer, Cade Satterley, he's a really good player. There's just not room. You can't share that much of the ball. And so those guys have just been really, and those guys are a little more physical, a little bit bigger. You get in some of these games, they're gonna grind out some yards for you. And then defensively, we've just got a host of guys. Our linebackers are really good. You got Carlos Espino, Caleb Clark, Cesar Flores, and Cooper Cole. Those guys, there's a rotation going in there. And then those same linemen that Blaine Hammock has been just a stud.
There's a guy
at our defensive tackle spot.
Yeah.
And then Landon on the defensive side as well. We lost Brody Dreer, who's a sophomore. We lost him about week 3 to an ACL, and he was a starter for us, and he was primed to be one of our better safeties throughout the year. So we've had some injuries, but not a ton. We've stayed pretty healthy, and we've kind of gotten guys back throughout the year if they were kind of banged up. So that's a big key. When you get to this point in the year, you've got to be healthy, you got to have a little luck, and you got to be pretty good.
And so you're pretty healthy going into the Waverly game.
Yeah, we feel like really the last 4 or 5 weeks we've been as healthy as we've been.
Wow. And that's a tribute to being pretty good shape, or is it just luck?
I think there's both, but I think sometimes those injuries they just happen.
I know it.
And but we've been pretty fortunate with that.
The Seward game, how would you prepare for what Cooper Cole did? Kid had 138 yards rushing. He had 197 coming in.
Yeah,
Gee,
and early in the season, Cooper played slot for us last year, and that was just kind of a natural. We had some running backs, so we wanted to get him on the field. So we kind of started that the first couple games. He was playing our slot, and then we had Keithan Krings, who was playing outside receiver. And Keithan's just really good with his routes, and he's a kid that we wanted. He kind of gave us a little bit of a playmaking ability at the receiver spot. And so about week 3 or 4, we moved Cooper to running back, which is, that's probably his future this year, next year. And then we moved Keithan into the slot. Our slots and our tight ends typically get probably more targets throughout a game just because of what we do with them. But once we did that, it took Cooper 3 or 4 weeks to really get comfortable in there. And so now, these last 4 weeks, he just continued to get better and better and better. And the cool thing about it is you've got Naz Robinson, who, he got hurt last year a little bit at the end of the year, and so we knew he had some good juice in there. But those 2 guys, and during a game, we don't even talk to them about a rotation really, because they just work so well together. If they're really grinding a little bit, they'll tap out, and the next guy will come in.
Are you kidding me?
And it doesn't even matter if we're going into to score. They just know if they're not feeling good or if they're tired, they don't run as well, and so they'll give up a touchdown opportunity for the other guy to go in and help the team. And I think that's really cool.
Holy smokes.
And you just don't see that very often, And so that was a perfect example the other night. There have been games when Naz has been the guy that's grinding it out, and Coop's just kind of waiting, and Naz is feeling good, so you just keep going. And the other night, Coop was rolling, and he's running through people and hitting that line, And then Naz was, just he's like, hey, he's going. So it's been cool to see.
Now, you don't see that.
No,
you just don't, man. You got a blessing there, Coach. So we're going to wish you good luck against Waverly. It's great to hear that. Hey, this was halfway expected. I kind of thought things might be all right, but you never know with injuries. But you've been blessed with good health, and we're not going to ask you what you're going to do against Waverly because and we don't want them to know. So.
No, we got a few days of practice yet. We got to get it figured out.
Yeah, let's get some warmer weather out there. Should be a great Friday night for football there. I hope you have buses going, or they don't do that anymore. Just go in your car. But it should be a great atmosphere. They're a great football facility.
Yep.
And win another one. And is there any chance of getting back here?
No, they changed that rule a couple years ago last year. So we'll be on the road. We'll be road warriors no matter what. So.
Hey, just go do it, man.
Yeah.
Good luck with the Hastings Tigers. Fish behind the camera as usual, producing and doing everything about this. Coach Charlie Shoemaker, great talking to you.
Thanks, Bobby.
Good luck Friday night. For the Independent.com, this is Bobby Mills. We'll catch you next time on Endzone Online.